Okay, this is a video on my rocker box gasket replacement and realizing I have to pull the knucklehead rocker boxes off the motorcycle. So I do have them cleaned up, and if you look, there is rubber seals in there, and those rubber seals have an indent line on them where the rocker tins push on them. Even I'm worried that they're going to leak right there if I replace the tin gaskets. So I'm going to replace those. I ordered them yesterday, but you could see it looks like they could possibly be leaking right there. I don't know if the light helps or not. So I have to pull off the knuckle rocker boxes. I'm going to have to remove these two oil hoses, and then there's 3 bolts to get them off, and I'm not sure if you could see down in there, but there's one of the bolts there. You have that one there and that one there to remove, and that's 3 that'll take them off. You also have to take off this oil line, and then you have to take the push rod and the push rod tubes out. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, and then I'll disassemble these and you can see what it takes to do the job. I've never done this job, so I'm going to be learning as I go. So I'm backing up the 9/16 nut with a 5/8 wrench. And I expect to get a little oil out of this. So now I'm just going to spin the engine over until I can twist the push rod. If you don't have a clothespin to hold up these push rod tubes in your garage, you ought to get one. Now I have to take out the 3 9/16 bolts, and I already loosened these with just a little bit. And it's important to not over torque these, because my understanding is that these ears break off all the time on the heads. So you have to be extra careful with them. I couldn't get that push rod all the way out, even with the lifter adjustment all the way collapsed, so I'm just going to take it out once I take the rocker box off. And now the last one. And now the last one's down in here. Also, with the last one, it holds the bracket on for the throttle cable. And last, to get this off, we have to take these 2 nuts off here. One mounts the motor mount, and they both hold the rocker arms on. These are both 5/8. Both of these are much looser than I expected. So this one goes lock washer, motor mount, flat washer. This one just has the flat washer. Now I decided to remove the motor mount. And the way this is, it has one thick washer, then the mount, and then 3 thick washers for alignment. And then you pull the bolt out and it has a thick washer. What I like to do is put everything back so it doesn't get lost. So now I'm expecting this rocker box to come off relatively easy. I'm sure that it won't, but I would like it if it did. And now a little love tap with a rubber hammer. And there it is. So here's everything. You can see my bench is a little crowded because I have my Evo motor all torn apart. But the other thing I noticed is, if you look, that seal is moving with the rocker arm. And it's really loose, so I'm not wondering if that's where my leak was. The front one is the same way. So the way I got the rubber off is I just dental picked it out of here and then slipped it over the end. And I'm going to show you that on this one. So I just have an old dentist tool and I just kind of poke it down in there and give it a little lift and then spin it as I'm doing it, and it comes right up out of there. Comes up out like that. And then I just kind of took it here, and I am surprised that these are still very pliable. They've been in there for 21 years, and with a little fight, there it is off. You can see where it had really deep grooves from the tins, so the new ones will be flat like this side is. Okay, this is where I'm at on getting the rear head off. I have both the push rods out, and I have to remove that rear tin, the exhaust tin, in order to get this out. Now I have the front one off, and as you can see, you have to lift the rocker over top of the lower tin in order to slide this part out. When you look in there, I got all the screws out except for, I don't even know if you can see that, there's one down in there. You can see it. And that one is now up against the frame and you can't get it out. So that means I'm going to have to remove the rear head. And in order to remove the rear head, I got to remove the exhaust system. The head bolts are down here, and then I have to take out the carburetor and the intake manifold. I'm going to loosen the plumber's nut for the intake manifold before I go any further with unbolting it. And this is 2 1/8 for this one. There is different sizes, but generally they're 2 1/8. So once you loosen them a bit, And you can just take them off by hand. Now I have to unbolt the carburetor. I did unbolt this oil line off of the engine to give me a little more access. Now I have to remove the carburetor and the intake manifold. Also have to remove the exhaust, which the exhaust takes time. They're kind of a pain to get off.